Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on sports part 2. Let's have a look at what we've done so far. Click on frame 1 and click on play. We have the ball approaching the bat, and at some point the bat is going to start swinging, and then we have contact with the bat. Okay, make sure you're on the final frame in your animation. Make sure nothing is selected, and let's click duplicate. Now in the next frame, we're going to have the ball moving in the opposite direction after contact, and we have a little bit of follow through with the bat as well. So let's click on the crack kind of the animation here, the little clip art, and let's delete it. Hit delete on your keyboard. Okay, so now let's make sure that we turn the onion skin back on. So let's go up to the view menu, the view pull down menu, and let's go to onion skin. Okay, let's move the baseball in the opposite direction and try to remember that overlap that you used in tutorial 1. Okay, that overlap between the two positions of the baseball. Let's click on the bat and let's continue our rotation slightly. And then let's move the bat so that the knob is in the relatively same position as the previous frame. Okay, all right, let's deselect and duplicate. Let's move the baseball towards the left-hand edge of the frame. Remembering your overlap, let's click on the bat and continue our follow through, and let's move the position of the bat so that the knobs overlap. Okay, let's deselect, let's duplicate. Let's click on the baseball. Let's move it down the line, make sure you have that consistent overlap. Click on the bat, rotate it forward, and move and line up the position of the knobs. Okay, maybe I went too far because we want to have some separation between the bat and the ball. We don't want to make it look like the bat is touching the ball for many frames in a row. All right, deselect and duplicate. Let's move the ball, and let's move the bat. Let's rotate the bat, and let's line up the knobs. All right, deselect and duplicate. Let's move the ball down. Let's click on the bat and rotate, and then line up the knobs. All right, a lot of repetition here. Once you know what you're doing and you have the basic skills, it's a little bit easier to follow. Make sure you line up the knobs of the bat. All right, the ball should be approaching the left-hand edge of the screen. All right, deselect and duplicate. Going to move the ball down the line, and I'm going to rotate the bat for a few more frames. All right, deselect and duplicate. Move the baseball. Click on the bat and rotate it a little bit more. Okay, I'm getting close to the edge of the frame. Are you? All right, I'm going to deselect and duplicate. Move the baseball, and I will rotate the bat one more kind of rotation. Okay, I'm almost got the ball off the edge of the frame, so I think I can get one more frame in, and I will have that overlap so I can just see the edge of the ball here on the left-hand side of the frame. I won't rotate the bat. Okay. All right, let's save. Let's go up to the save and hit the save tool at the top. Okay, let's use our slider at the bottom of the frame, and let's go all the way back to frame 1. Let's hit play. Okay, that looks pretty natural. Okay, now if there's any point that you think that the ball moved a little bit too much or it didn't move a lot, now's the opportunity that you've got to go back and change the position of the elements in your animation. So if you need to do that, definitely press pause here. Okay, you don't have to rush. I'd rather you try and make a smooth animation. Okay, if you think you're ready to move on, let's speed up the animation. So let's click on frame 1. Make sure you use the slider in your timeline. Click on frame 1. Then use the slider and go all the way to the end of your animation. Hold the shift key in the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard and click on the last frame. That should highlight all of the frames in between the first frame and the last frame. Okay, so we need the duration slider here. So let's click back on Tools on the Tool panel so we get the duration slider. Let's change from 0.5 to 0.2 and hit Enter. So let's see how this has changed the speed of our animation. So click play. Now you see the ball is moving much faster and the bat is moving much faster as well. Okay, now I want you to find the frame where we had that animated sound effect, where we have the visual sound effect, the crack. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to hold on this frame for a little bit longer because we put that visual sound effect in. So let's make sure that the audience is able to read it. So we're going to slow down the animation at that point. So we're going to change 0.2 back to 0. How about 0.4? Okay, and we'll see how that works. All right, let's click on frame 1 and let's click play. Ball's moving. We have the crack, and then we have a slight pause, don't we? And that's what we want. Sometimes, okay, we can control the speed of the animation. Not all of the frames have to be the same speed. Excellent. Okay. So now, let's click on frame 1. And actually, let's go to frame 2. Let's start on frame 2. Let's click on the baseball. And what we want to do is we want to rotate, we use the rotate tool, and I want you to rotate it 1/4 turn forward to the right. Okay, you've got the onion skin so you can see the position. It started off here, and I want to go about 1/4 of the way, rotate it forward. Okay, now deselect. Now let's click on the next frame. Okay. Let's click on the baseball. You see the position of where it was previous. So we've got to rotate it 1/4 of the way forward. Now you're going to actually end up turning it a lot more than 1/4 because when we duplicated the baseball, it stayed in the same position. So you're going to have to rotate it more every single frame. I need you to make sure that you're looking back on the onion skin to see how far forward you have to rotate it. All right, click on the next frame and do the same thing. Again, very repetitive. Okay, go forward about 1/4 turn. Click on the next frame, click on the baseball, and go forward about 1/4 turn. Click on the next frame and do the same thing. Always look at your onion skin as a point of reference. Click on the next frame. Click on the next frame. Okay, about 1/4 turn. If it's not exactly 90 degrees, it's not exactly a 1/4 turn, it doesn't matter. The point is that you're trying to show that this ball is spinning. It's not just stationary in the air. All right, click on the next frame. We're getting close to contact with the bat. Click on the next frame. Let's rotate it again. All right, now at the point that it makes contact, where it has the crack, we can leave that rotation. Actually, what we should do is we should probably line it up with the previous onion skin, okay? Because it probably won't match. All right, let's click on the next frame. Now, what's important is once the bat has made contact with the ball, the spin is going to change. So now, instead of spinning to the right, okay, it has to spin to the left, 1/4 turn. All right, click on the next frame and let's continue the pattern. Okay, and continue until the ball has moved off of the frame. Okay, about 1/4 turn. Keep going at your speed. Use the slider at the bottom to make sure that you're looking at all of the frames. Continue clicking on the baseball and rotating it a quarter turn. Make sure you go to the final frame. Okay, so once you've gotten to the final frame, if you haven't got there yet, make sure you press pause. We want to make sure that it looks all right. So let's turn off the onion skin from the right-hand panel, the Tools panel. And let's use the slider and go all the way back to frame 1. Let's click on frame 1 and hit play. See how that ball is rotating? Now, if you find that the rotation is too much, for example, maybe a quarter turn is too much, then you can go back and change it so that it's less than a quarter. I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay? All right, let's go back to frame 1. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into every frame and get rid of this arrow. Okay, that was only there as a guiding line for us as an animator. But once we show the animation, we don't want to have that there. So just simply click on it, hit delete, and then go through all of the frames. Click on that object carefully and then hit delete. Okay, so just take your time. You don't have to rush. You don't want to make any mistakes by deleting the baseball or the bat by accident, because it would be pretty hard. Well, actually, it wouldn't be hard because you can click undo. I was going to say it would be pretty hard to put it back into the exact same position, but that's not correct. That's why the undo tool is so important in every program. It can get you out of a lot of scary situations. Okay, so I'm just going through, getting rid of all of these arrows. Again, sometimes it takes time depending on how good your mouse control is and how good your mouse is. Make sure you use the slider so that you can see all of the frames. Almost done. Okay, now that I've erased that arrow from every frame, let's go back, click on frame 1, and let's have a look. It'll look a lot more natural now that that line is out of there. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's click Save in the top left-hand corner of your tool panel here. Okay, this concludes this Frames video tutorial on Sports Part 2. Please continue on with the next tutorial without calling Mr. Ueda over. Thanks for watching. Bye.